Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I have Andrea Frase back this week to go further into her life, pick up where we left off, which isn't always easy, but we can do it, and then to go into her modalities for her healing practice, for sacred bridging. And I'm very happy to have Andrea here because we've been having a great time. Andrea, you had gone through these phases of work, education, your discipline. I think where we left off is where you started to travel within when your mother, dad, and brother got cancer.
Yes.
So maybe you can help us pick right up there where that changed your life.
Yes, I think that when you're faced with that, the question is, what is this all about? Because you really, for the first time, I mean, my grandparents had passed away, and you see life going, at least the mind does anyway. I see it, the mind has a logical, time, linear way of looking at life, and then there's another part of our mind, which is, I call it the consciousness of our soul, our spirit, the right brain, which is connection to all things, which is what I've come to understand. And that was waking up. Because that was the one saying, I wonder where my Bible is, before my family got sick. So there was a part of me that understood at that time. I can look back and know this now, from my bridging myself home to myself, which is the God self within me. And doing that, it got me ready. It started, bringing up that part of me that I had gotten shut off from when I was a little girl who stopped singing. And started to pretend to be something else because I couldn't be that. That's what I told myself. And whatever we tell ourselves as children is, and we make agreements when we say, well, I will never sing again, or I will never do this. And what we don't really understand is that agreement that we make at 6 years old, or 7 years old, or 4 years old, or even 3 years old, it goes into your unconscious, and you're going to keep that agreement. Okay?
And you look back and you remember that Where Is Your Bible came up at a time that was a forewarning of some reason.
Yes, it was
a signal.
It was some signal in my soul that needed to wake up, because it knew, because I do believe that we know why we come. And we sort of have it all planned out. I'm manifesting everything. I'm creating my world. After all, I am created by the Creator. I'm the extension of the Creator. I am that child of God in spirit, who knows everything, because I had the connection to the all-knowing. All right, so that part of me is saying, hey, some big things are coming up here, and you need to wake up. And so I think we find our own way to wake ourselves up. And not to, some people say, oh, so you made your family sick, and not literally.
Life happens to us.
Life happens, and so we move into that place, and we find, how do we get through it? How do we? And we do that by wanting to understand it.
Your heart was being given a message.
Absolutely. So what was interesting is, even though with my parents, that was very hard, but with a brother, especially a younger brother, and that's out of sequence. Wait a minute, you can't go. I'm older.
You were supposed to get old together.
Yes, and he was. Oh my God, he was so much fun.
Was he?
Everybody loved him.
A live wire.
Yes, he was. He was Aquarian. You'd love that, right?
Yeah.
So we
friend to all.
Yes, he was, and he had literally hundreds of friends. So when he passed, and watching that happen was so devastating. And I was with him when he passed, and I couldn't believe that, because I'd always been afraid of death. But I asked if I could be there, and I was. And after that, we don't have time to get into the whole thing, but it's all these little pieces all got woven together in the tapestry of my life to bring me into healing work. Because after that, then my mother, the following summer, she passed. She didn't really want to be here anymore without him. And her cancer came back. My father survived his, and he passed in '07.
Okay.
But with each of them, we brought them home, except for my dad, who couldn't. And but with each of them, I was going deeper into my healing.
Were you there with all of them?
I was there with my mother up until about a couple hours before she passed. I was in a healing myself. Up in Lincoln, Massachusetts, and I felt my mother's soul go through me. And I was like, oh my God, he said, what's going on? I said, this is what it would be like if my mother passes.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I was going to this healing for myself because we'd have my mother home 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
My brother, I mean, that was so difficult for me, and I couldn't get any sort of healing from the typical way. So I found a healer who did some healing work on me. I went to the holistic world, and the very first healing I ever had, I felt my spirit. So it wasn't something that I read about in a book.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I said, and happy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so happy.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing. It was so exciting for me.
Yeah.
And the words that came out of my mouth, I said, oh my God, everybody's going to know about this.
Sheer joy.
Yes, and it's like, this is not who I am. I'm so past that.
Yeah.
I'm so huge. I mean, I totally understood it in that one moment.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't get enough of it.
Good.
So I started seeing 2 and 3 healers at a time, and one of them eventually became almost a mentor to me.
Okay.
And he was a great healer out in the Lincoln area.
Okay.
A lot of people knew him, and he would go into Harvard Medical School, and he would teach a little bit there.
Nice.
And without permission, I won't give his name.
Okay,
But,
sure.
So I have to do it this way.
Sure.
But anyway, he's still in my life and was a mentor to me. And he said, you know, how you doing in your job? And I was like, oh, I couldn't do the fashion thing anymore. I was like, oh my God, I can't connect anymore.
Yeah.
But
yeah, our friends on the first show, quickly to sum up, you had the glitzy fashion life, creative and wonderful, and
yes,
took talent, but you were ready to trade that in for something deeper.
Oh, I was ready to trade it in for a whole new life.
Yeah.
And so once I got into that place and I started receiving the healings, then a whole world opened up to me.
Yeah.
And I ended up being asked a question at one point. So, Andrea, you know, how you doing? How are you doing in your business? And I said, oh, I can't believe I'm still doing it. I want to be somewhere else. You know, he goes, well, if you could do anything, what would it be? And I thought, well, I don't know what it would be, but it would be in the holistic field. He says, well, why don't you think about massage therapy? Get your LMT. And I'm like, he goes, that's like MD in the medical world.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know. And then I'm thinking, oh yeah, when I was a little kid, I used to get the cream out for my mom's legs.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
And come on, Ma, let me do your legs. So anyway, I thought, well, I don't think that's just what I want to do. I said, but if it had an energy part to it, maybe I would consider it.
It's a start.
He said, at least that way, he said, you'd be in the inside looking out rather than the outside looking in. Yeah. He said, then you can decide what you want to do.
Yeah, doors would open from there.
So I went in and I had my interview at the school, and it was a school that it was called Holistic Massage, which was polarity and massage combination. So I got a degree in polarity and massage, and just a little quick sideline on the interview that day when I went was exactly 1 year from the passing of my mother, and I didn't realize it. And when I was sitting in there being interviewed, and I was telling him, he says, so Andrew, so what makes you think you want to come to this school, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I go back into telling him, like I said on the first show, oh, I used to get the cream out and do my mother's legs and stuff like that. And then I said, and all of a sudden,
it hit you.
Oh my God, I go, this is the anniversary of my mother's passing. I was, and I start crying and crying. I said, oh my God, I can't believe it. And he's like, and now I'm a shoo-in for the school. Any other job, get her out of here.
Yeah.
But that one, oh my God, she's going to be great. And my mother left a little bit of money to all of us kids. The money that she left me was the exact amount that it cost to go to school.
Doors opening all over.
And see, so I always believed that my brother, who I saw, by the way, after he passed, I actually saw him. He showed up on the day we had we had 2 funerals for him, one on the Cape here, and one in Florida where he lived. And 4 days after he passed, we had the service there. And his best friend was packing to go back to California, and I was sitting in the room with him. And I'm talking to him like I'm speaking to you, and right behind him appears my brother. And I'm like, and the tears are coming down, and he's like these beautiful violet blue eyes. He looked incredible, and he's just staring at me, and I'm staring at him, and the tears are coming down, and I just feel like people who are in the tech world will understand, I was like getting a download from him.
Yeah.
So I was uploading all this information, and there was so much, and I'm still understanding a lot of what he was giving me then, because it wasn't with words. But he just kept looking at me, and when he was done, he gave me a wink, tossed his head and smiled, and he disappeared and I was like,
what a sweet visit.
Oh my God, what is that? Why me? And somebody said, well, why not you?
Exactly.
But see, that was all of these things were all connections, because my mother used to say, oh, there's something about your hands. Something about your hands.
Yeah.
I go to school. There's my money. My mother leaves me money, just enough for school. My brother passes. I see him. Okay, so this life, this isn't just this. And then there's the healing pieces come in. I go to school. That's great. And I get so open to the energy part of it that I don't even, that I go on to learn how to do Rise work, which is R period Y period S period E period. And it's a modality created by a woman, Nancy Risley, and it was hands-off healing. So distance healing. So I learned how to connect with people at a distance. And from there, then I worked with a Tibetan monk, and he taught me how to actually put my hands on somebody and just feel the spirit of whether it's the finger or the elbow, or joint, a head, or whatever it is, and communicate with it. But it's all, that was all done in silence. And while I was learning all these things, in the middle of it, I went to Ecuador, to the rainforest in the jungle.
You did?
Yes.
What took you there?
I just said to a friend one day, you know, I'd always like to go to the jungle. And she called me up one day. She goes, we're going on a trip to the jungle in Ecuador, to the rainforest. You want to go? And I was like, yeah. And then I got scared to death because, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to go. But anyway, I went. And it turns out that it was the first time they were indigenous people. They used to be headhunters. Until the missionaries came in and told them to put their clothes on and stop doing that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
That hurts.
But anyway, so this was the first time they were actually going to invite us into their home. So a friend and I were invited to go to this one family's place. They had 7 children, and there was this little girl lying, and they used to sleep on these planks and up off the ground because there's snakes and scorpions and whatever. So anyway, she's getting. We're talking. I mean, they speak Schwa and I speak English, and my friend spoke a little bit of Spanish, and so we're trying to have a communication. And one thing comes up out of the communication is my friend said, "So what's the matter with your little girl?" And they said something with her head, but they didn't know what. And so my friend volunteers me to do a healing on her.
Oh, she volunteers you.
It was a male friend, and he said to me, he goes, "Oh, Andrea, she's a healer. She can." I'm like. He said, "Don't you volunteer me? These people are headhunters. What if I don't know what I'm doing? Are you kidding me?
What if they don't like my work?"
I said, what if I said, no, I want to go home with this. And so anyway, next thing I know, the hut's empty. Everyone's gone. I'm in the middle of the Ecuador rainforest jungle with a girl laying on a board, and no one says anything to her. And so I'm sitting there going, God, you better tell me what to do. Because, of course, the ego wants to know what to do.
Of course.
And what I know is that I'm not a healer. I facilitate healing.
Sure.
God does all the healing.
Right.
And I have to get out of the way, let God come through me and do the healing, because God is love, and the only thing that truly heals is love. And when I get out of the way with my ego mind, the one who was afraid, oh my God,
that
I don't
owns
know what
your
to
head.
do. That owns most people's thoughts. Absolutely. So what happened was I went to her, and I just put my hand under, and I put my other hand on top of her, and the first thing I do is I feel little bugs bite my arm, and it's like, you know, you want to pull your hand away, and I hear, Andrea, unconditional love. And I said, you're right, God, unconditional love, unconditional love. I close my eyes, and then I hear...
Is your hand under her head?
Under her head, and the other one's on top, and then I hear a melody.
Ah.
And it just kept going, and so I heard that, and I started singing it. The first time I'm really singing.
I was thinking about your voice story.
Yes.
It came back.
And I'm like hearing it, and I'm singing, and as I'm singing, my hands are going. Next thing I know, it lasted about half an hour, and I just kept repeating it and went in different levels. And when I was all done, I just kissed her, and I left the hut. The men came back from wherever they were, the women came out, and we're standing there, and we're talking, and all of a sudden we hear this little girl coming down, skipping and jumping like that, and we're looking and going, and the father looks at me and goes, oh, thank you, thank you. And I'm looking, oh, thank you, God, I don't know what that was, but that was great.
And you loved it.
I loved it.
You were singing again.
My soul was...
And our friends who didn't see the first show, you had lost your voice over a trauma when you were 6, and you didn't have it, and all of a sudden it came back the way you were supposed to use it.
My soul, my head got out of the way, my soul is the singer, came in. And then I went back, and it was hard to do the silent work. It was hard to do any other work because his voice would start coming to me. But I thought, oh my, everybody, I believed what everybody said. Oh, your voice is terrible. I was afraid I was going to scare my clients or something. But it just came up one day, and it just kept getting stronger. So what happened is I understand and know that the universal language of this world is sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not English, it's not French, it's not Italian, it's sound. We all know sound. We all know rhythm.
Yeah.
We all know these pieces.
That is true.
So, and so my heart, the way that I heal is through sound.
Yeah.
Vibrational therapy. There is some touch involved. There is breath work involved. In fact, we have to quiet the mind first to receive the sound.
Yeah.
And the sound actually, I call it sacred bridging, and I trademarked it back in 2009.
Okay, good
2009, so that
it's yours.
It's mine.
You're a creator.
I am a creator. Yes, the Creator created me. I'm the
And
extension of that creation. So, so I called it sacred bridging because what it is it's the sacredness is the heart. God is love. I'm love. Everyone is. And the way to reconnect with who you are and to go home to who you are is you've got to go home to your heart.
Yeah.
It's not, you're never going to think your way to God. You're never going to think your way to yourself. You're going to feel your way.
Yeah.
You have to feel your way. So one of the ways to do it is for me, is through sound.
So when you were singing, you've just felt joy. And
My heart was wide open because that was me. Yeah.
That was you.
Yeah.
You auditioned, stepped forth.
Yes.
And there you are.
And so then I started, this sound started coming, and then
it must have been exciting.
It was, and then I met a Navajo shaman, and I worked with him for 5 years, and people say, oh, so I actually brought my drum that I made.
I want to hear it.
And I'm going to play it for you, and you can hear the voice. So a lot of people say, oh, she's a shaman. There's a lot of stories around me, none of which I've told. This is why I'm telling my story today.
Okay.
So I don't call myself that. I don't know why it sounds the way that it does. When I started, it was doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Does that sound like a shaman? No. I used crystal bowls before. I used other kinds of instruments. But I heard a sound when I was working on somebody one day, and it's the sound of this drum. And it was 6 years before I actually made the drum. I didn't know I was going to make a drum.
Plus, you told me every time you start, you don't know where it's going.
I don't know where
totally
it's going.
Guided.
Totally guided. It's just, I get out of the way, I listen. It's God's using me as a vehicle to heal.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I came in, and if you want me to use the voice, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So that's how that goes. And so I just listen. So this is what I give is God's gift to people. They can unwrap it and enjoy it, or they can push it off to the side and say maybe later or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is my way of showing love and using vibration to do it in a universal language.
It must be powerful in a group situation. Do you do that kind of thing?
Well, what's interesting is when all of this has brought me full circle, from where's your Bible and taking me back to church, and then church is really too small. The idea of God is way too small in the church, so that's not going to work for me. I tried it, and I was involved with it. 18 years ago, my sister-in-law gave me Course in Miracles.
Hello.
Text and workbook.
Yeah.
And I opened them up, and I started reading, and it was like, I saw words that sounded very Christian. I went, okay, not for me.
Yeah.
Last summer in 2011, I heard Spirit say, go open the book. So I've been moving them around with me for 18 years.
Try it
I
again.
opened up, I couldn't put it down. 31 days, it had 31 chapters, 31 days I read it. My soul was on fire and alive, and I go, oh my God, this is everything that I've been teaching, but in a different language.
Yeah.
And I've met a woman by the name of Mary Beth. I won't use the last name because I don't have permission to do that. But she was running a retreat and this past spring, and I was going to go for me. And I called her, and she was listening to and she said, so what do you do? And I told her, and she said, she got real quiet. She goes, you know what? She says, I'm getting a message, she said, about you. She said, you have a very powerful gift. She says, you're not coming here for you. She says, you're coming here to heal us.
Nice.
And see, God's been telling me a long time, take the message out, take it out, take your work out, take your work out. So I would keep praying about it, and the first thing that I got was a radio show in Boston I called Sacred Bridging Healing Conversations, which I did a weekly hour show where I taught how to live from the heart. Yeah. Which is on my website. People can download those.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, and painting all these things to get into my right brain. And so anyway, I told her about it. So I went to the retreat, and I did the healing on the group. There was like 21. That's where Vicki Poppy had met me to do this. Yes. And everybody heard it, and they said, oh my God, we have to do something with this. And I said, I know, but I haven't known what to do with it because now I do group healings.
I would think
Ever
that
since
would be
that, I'm just it's been
absolutely
ever since that I'm just
absolutely
it's been consistently
super.
doing
Yeah.
it. I'm finishing a 9-week series. I've been doing
And
with
your
Quincy.
vibration and everyone else's just are joining.
Oh yeah. So
So-
we start with breath work and we go deep into the breath because breath is life and God is breathing us, and that's our connection.
right.
That's the umbilical cord.
That is so true.
And you quiet your mind with that, and then once that happens, then we do sounds together, and people hear themselves, and they hear each other, and they hear me, and then I bring in the drum, I bring in the sound, and it goes for about an hour, and people just go into this deep, deep place, and they're able to access and ask the spiritual and the conscious aspect of their true self.
Yeah.
And when they come back, and I say come back because you do have a sense that you've gone away.
Yeah.
And that you're more than the body, you're out.
Yeah. I appreciate what you just said.
Yes.
Yes.
And so anyway, it's all in perfect alignment. And when I found the Course in Miracles too, I was thinking to myself, boy, if people get this, they definitely could do this.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? They do.
Of course.
And the healings that are happening are just, they're amazing and beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't explain it other than to say,
It's beyond
it's
words.
God. It's
Yeah.
just gone.
It's beyond
so
words.
I'd love to
Would you
have hear
please?
this. Sure.
Enter stage left.
So this is my drum.
Okay.
And it's made of deerskin
All
and
right.
oak,
Oh,
and there's an antler.
did you make this?
I did make it. I did make it,
Okay.
and took a couple of days. It is all everything is from one piece of hide that I had to break down, get all the fascia out of it.
Yeah.
And the handle again,
I love
as
the
I says, the
handle.
antler, and it's got 3, so I like the 3.
The Trinity.
Yes, the Trinity.
That's sweet.
And this was a doe, a female.
Oh, a female.
So I have male and female energy balanced. Oak. I live on a street called Oak Hill, but it's also one of the strongest trees that there are, and it's also a tree is an antenna to God. It's grounded in here, but it also reaches up and spreads out, and it just it just pulls it all in, and it takes our carbon dioxide and makes oxygen.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this whole relationship.
Yeah.
So, and drum is the most indigenous instrument there is. And why?
Yes.
Because we have a heart,
Yes.
and it beats.
Mm-hmm.
And so this has got a really nice deep sound to it. It resonates with the heart. And so as I will sing and play with it a little bit.
Okay. You just let Spirit take you along.
We'll
And
see,
we will
see what comes.
see what comes.
I never know. It's always fun to
This
me
is
too.
exciting.
And so imagine yourself having breathed really deeply, and you're in a nice quiet state. Oh
Timing is everything. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Strong resonance, beautiful vibration, and we have a minute to go, so you see you came in for a landing. It was beautiful. It was lovely.
Still out.
It's so you. It is so you. Beautiful channel.
Yeah.
Beautiful channel. Thank you.
Thank you very much so that's the way in which I created the bridge to bring people home.
Yeah.
It's through sound.
Yeah.
And everybody interprets it their own way.
Thank you.
Wherever they are, they can find their way home to God.
Thank you so much.
Forever.
And thank you, my friends, for joining us on Awaken the Dream. We will talk to you again soon.